Chef Arne, I did it, my first 70.3. This is going to be a little bit of a recap about the whole event, how I felt during it, before it, after it, everything you need to know. So let's get into it. 12 months ago, or just over 12 months ago, I started triathlon, and I had no idea that I would become as addicted as I am, and no clue that I would be doing an Ironman event, given this is the 70.3 event, which is a half Ironman. 70.3 refers to the number of miles you cover over that distance, 70.3 miles. And it's just a recap for anybody who doesn't know. A 1.9 kilometer swim, 90k bike, that's 90, and followed by a 21.1 kilometer run, which is a half marathon. And it took me 6 hours, or just under 6 hours 25, or 6 hours 24. And going into it, I was excited. I had nerves maybe 3 days before the event, only for one day, not even the whole day too, so I'm happy about that. My nutrition wasn't the best. I wasn't sort of eating super clean as I should have, and I think probably the reason is I was just overwhelmed. There's so many things to think about. If you've done triathlon before, you know how many elements are involved in doing a triathlon. This being so new to me, I'm still getting used to the ropes, and traveled down the day before the event. So we traveled down on the Friday. We all met up for a group catch up with my coach Nathan Martin and Change Fitness, which is his fitness business, and he coaches a lot of other athletes, and he had 25 athletes from Change Fitness doing the event this year, 2025. Then I went and registered. I made sure to oil up my chain the day before. I had done this at the training camp prior, and then as I was going to registration, one of the bros, Josh, who did the 70.3 as well, he let me know that they want to see your wetsuit, and so I went and grabbed my wetsuit, swapped my bike because they didn't need to see my bike. As I got there, she just gave me a little, or the lady was there, one of the workers, she just gave me a little rundown of safety with wetsuits when swimming in fresh water, just so we don't spread diseases from one fresh body of water to another. So that was that. Went into the tent and I got to ring the bell for a first timer. All the first timers get to ring the bell, and then I got my kit, and it had all of my numbers and things that I put onto my helmet and onto the bike, and my tattoo for my forearm and things like that, and then it exits through the gift shop as they say. And then in the Ironman gift shop, I made sure to buy me one of the 70.3 t-shirts that has my name on it, which is a pretty clever marketing thing to do for them, I reckon, because especially being a first timer, you'll only do your first time once, and I wanted to make sure I've got the t-shirt that's got my name on it from my first time. I bought some electrolytes, some socks, and then we went to drop my bike off at Transition. When you go drop your bike off, you have to make sure you've got your helmet clipped up, just so they know for safety reasons as you go in that each athlete has an operational helmet, for safety reasons. And so I went in, found my position on the rack, and then put my bike up. I made sure to give the person next to me enough space, and I'm glad I was kind of on the end of a rack instead of the middle of one. So I had a bit more space on the right side. Did that, and then we went grocery shopping, got some kai for dinner, and some breakfast and stuff, because we stayed at a motel. Obviously we didn't have our normal kai, so we had to make sure we had kai for us. Went home, I went to accommodation, made sure to triple check all of my gear. I pulled it all out of my bucket and made sure it was in order, and I sort of walked through the whole process in my head, the swim bike and then the run. Had all that ready, and thankfully I was pretty tired, so I practically fell straight to sleep. It was around 9:30, and then I woke up at 4, I think it was, 4 a.m. so I could make sure I have a kai 3 hours before we start, which was around 7 a.m. Had some porridge and a protein shake. I wasn't really that hungry, and I knew I should sort of just eat, just because I would need the fuel on the course. So I had a little bit of porridge, had that protein shake, like I said. And unfortunately, I didn't go to the toilet. I wanted to go to the toilet for a number 2, but nothing. The nerves was keeping it in this time. And then we packed the car and we made our way over to Taupo, and we were staying just out of Taupo. Got there and then found a park pretty close, so that was pretty good. And then we parked up close, which was close to transition. I took my gears in my bucket so I could lay them all out next to my bike in transition, and then the nerves came, and then I went for my number 2. Went and put my wetsuit on, heaps of Vaseline on my neck, armpits, groin area, because it was going to be a long day of moving the body around. Then we made our way down to the start line of the swim. It was pretty bloody exciting. Got down there and heaps of people, and the temperature was perfect. The weather was a bit overcast, which was good because it meant that it wasn't going to be too hot for our race. And then they did a little hakapohiri for everybody just to start off the day, and then made my way down to the water. Everyone was all wetsuited up except for one fella. I met one fella who was wearing just a bloomin' long sleeve sports top from the warehouse. And he just signed up, came up by himself, just wanted to give it a whirl. Had a bit of a team photo with our crew, or the crew that were in my start time anyway. Some of the faster swimmers, they went before us. We were the last wave to go out of the 7.3ers, and they were letting people go 4 at a time, I think it was, or 5 at a time, every 4 seconds into the water. And then forgot to start my watch straight away, so maybe 50 meters in or so I started my watch. The swim was really nice. It was blooming lovely temperature. The water was fresh, calm as, no chop at all. Once I got into my rhythm, then that was me. I was breathing to the right. When I breathe to my left, whatever side is supposed to be propelling me the most, maybe my right arm or left arm, whatever it is the weakest side. So I find it takes more effort to go slower when I breathe to my left. So I was mostly breathing to my right. The swim took this long. I can't remember exactly how long it took. And then it was hard to get my torso out of my wetsuit just to make my way up to T1, but I loved it. I had the most fun. I reckon I had the most fun out of everybody there, or one of the people who had the most fun. Made it to T1, had a gel, got onto my biking gears, and transition took this long. And then I was out on the road, and my target was to hit 200 watts. That was my race pace. Felt pretty good up until about maybe 30k in, maybe not even that. And then my glutes, both glutes, left and right, were starting to feel a bit overworked. And I'd felt this familiar feeling before at the Iron Mouldy a few months back. And I was thinking, shit, here we frickin' go again. And my left quad started to play up, maybe 40k's in. And I thought, shit, another frickin' spanner in the works. So I had to sort of change my pedal stroke a little bit. And I'll chalk this down to adjusting my saddle this week, the week of the race, because it wasn't tight enough a couple of weeks back, and it ended up slowly dropping down and settling down, and I had to sort of just guess where the saddle height was instead of, because I couldn't make it back into the bike fitter to get me to the right height. Fueling was pretty perfect. I had 3 of these Hawley gels, and they're about 24 grams of carbs each, so that's around 72 grams of carbs, I think it was, per hour. and my body is used to it. I've been having these for ages, for the last year really, and I don't get a sore stomach at all, so I'm happy about that. Going toward Reporoa, which is the first half of the bike, is all of the downhill stuff, and it was frickin' fun. I got up to 60. I'll put it up here. My max speed was 60s, in the 60s. Anyway, but there were some people though on that blooming course who did not know the etiquette. So the etiquette is you stay to the left so that the right side of your lane is free for people to overtake you. And there were people riding in the middle of the bloody lane, and we're not allowed to cross the centre line because there's other people coming back on the other side, and it's sort of classified as an illegal thing to do during the race. So I wanted to make sure I was sticking to it. And you're supposed to, it's a draft illegal race, so you're supposed to have space, but man, heaps of people were jammed right up each other's asses, and everyone was close as. So yeah, other than the, annoying person who got in the way, some people were overtaking and sort of going the same pace. If you're overtaking, you have to overtake quickly so you can get out of the way for other people to overtake. Yeah, so that was that, and then I made it back in just over 3 hours. It was 3 hours and 6 minutes, which I'm stoked about. I was hoping I could get close to 30k an hour average. This ended up being my average speed. Got into T2, and as I said, my left quad and my glutes were just sore, super tight. So I did a little bit of a stretch, and I had another gel before going on the run. Changed my socks. Thank goodness I changed my socks, because I'm prone to getting blisters easily. So I had some thicker socks before putting my shoes on, and then I got out there on the run. Felt good. My legs weren't jelly, other than just being sore, from overworking them. They weren't jelly though, which is, if you've run off the bike before, you'll know that jelly leg feeling that I'm talking about. Got out there. Temperature was still nice, and it was, man, the support out there was amazing. Like, all of the people there, even the people who don't know you, are like cheering you on, and man, it really charges you up. And when you see people that like my darling was there with our dog Peanut and our Change Fitness crew, like running past them was, it charged you up. And one half of the run was closer to town, and that's where the majority of the supporters were, and then the other half of the run was a bit quieter, and you sort of left with your thoughts. It felt a bit more lonely being out there for that part. And it was 2 laps of the course, and then it was running back home, man. But I tell you what, those hills freaking killed me off, man. Biking the hills and running the hills, I felt like I was half a ton going up both. When I went up both two on the bike, overtaken from everyone who was behind me. Anyone who was close enough, I did not overtake one person up a hill. And then if I did, they overtook me straight away. And on the runs, got overtaken by some people, but most people that I was with was sort of the same as me. They sort of just got their asses freaking booted from the hills. My first time being able to fuel on the run too, taking gels and drinking electrolytes and being able to keep it down. I'm stoked about that. Although there was one part after the run, straight after the bike when I started running, I felt like I was going to spew up, because I just had heaps of gels and electrolytes in me. Yeah, there were periods, like the 90% of the race was amazing. I loved it, super fun. And then about 10%, maybe even less, was just hard. Those hills were hard. When I was getting sore in my glutes and my quad, that was hard. And made it all the way home. And they've got the red carpet out for you. There was the bell to ring if you're a first timer, but I wanted to save that until I do the full distance. I felt like I didn't earn that bell ring. Although, I could have rang it, but I didn't want to. I wanted to save that for my first full distance. Ran back on the red carpet, and they say your name and you celebrate, and just stoked. They give you a 70.3 towel, and then I made my way to the athlete's tent, and they've just got heaps of kai in there, watermelons, fruit, savoury items, and heaps of drinks. And then I went for a massage, and blimmin', I just assumed that the massage was part of it, but got to the massage, and I was already like lying on the table, and then the lady told me that it was $30. And by then, you're full of euphoria. You feel really good, and I was like, yeah, no, sweet as. And after the massage, I actually felt worse. I was freaking sore as, and my trap right here was sore, and it's still a bit sore now, actually. And it's Thursday now, Thursday following, and that was, I think, the start of it was from just my neck, just looking up on the bike, and the area bars was just tiring. And it was the best experience. I freaking loved it. I've been thinking about it practically all day since, and excited for another year of some good training. And these are my working points, my areas that I want to improve on, which I know will make my next triathlon that much more enjoyable. Other than the obvious get fitter, and get better at each discipline. Some of the things that I thought about were callousing my feet, because my feet are too soft, and that'll do it to you if you just wear shoes everywhere you go. And I work from home, so I'm at home most of the time, and on soft carpet, that's not going to get my feet calloused. So I've been doing some barefoot walks out on the footpaths and things, trying to get them calloused so I don't get blisters, and blisters just become a thing of the past. Another area is mobility. I'm not that mobile, so I'd like to work on my mobility. I've already been doing it, implementing it, so I can be more limber, have more flexibility and strength in my full range of motion. Another big area is nutrition, so I can lose weight. I'm currently 113 kilos, and you really feel all of that weight when you're out there. And to second that, you feel that amount of space that you take up, particularly when you're in the aero bars on the bike. And because I got big legs, and then my guts get in the way, and when you're in the aero bars, your thighs come straight up into your stomach, and it just makes it that much harder to pedal. So I'd like to be probably in the low 90 kilos, if not in the 80s. And I haven't been in the 80s since I was a kid, probably. Like a young teenager was the last time I was there. And I purely want to get there just to make triathlon easier and more enjoyable. Like running around with all this weight as well, it makes it harder. And that's more impact on my soft ass feet. Yeah, so nutrition. So that'll mean counting calories. Getting stronger. Like, I did some press-ups a few weeks ago, and useless. Press-ups were non-existent. I only did like 4 body-weighted press-ups before I had to drop to my knees, and I could not carry on if I wanted to go straight. I could pause. Anyway, get stronger, and get stronger in the right areas with the right muscle groups. And my coach Nathan, he's already sent me a message to help sort out a plan so I can figure out where I am and get into that. Another part is sleep, making sure that I'm getting some good rest, because all of this training is going to mean nothing if I'm not resting right. It doesn't matter how hard I train, my body's not going to turn up for me if I'm not resting well. And then I think the last thing is technique. Thinking about technique. So technique in swimming particularly, because it's all technique practically. The fittest people in the world who don't know how to swim, they won't be able to do it, because you'll just freak out. So I'd like to get faster into swim with less effort. Cycling, wanting to get a TT bike, that's my dream. My goal this year is to get my dream bike, Canyon Speed Max CFR, the SRAM model, SRAM Red, which is this one right here, the dream bike, bloody beautiful bike. So I can get used to riding in a TT position, because the whole geometry and everything about that bike is built, or those bikes, a TT bike, which is time trial bike, or triathlon bike is built to go fast with the same amount of effort. So that'll be another one. Yeah, I think that's about it. But if you've watched this whole video and you're thinking about, man, maybe I should do a triathlon, let me leave you with this. I saw this TikTok with this person, and their message was, one day you're going to be too old to do these things that you want to do right now. And you're going to wish that you had the body that you've got right now and all of the capabilities that it has right now. So why not do it? And I'm paraphrasing all of this. Let's get to the end of our lives and look back on the things that we've done in our life and cherish them and be grateful that we did them. And, I'll forever be able to look back and go, man, I did a half Ironman. Even if I lost all of my bodily functions right now and I was reduced to being a bedridden person, I can still say I did a half Ironman. Cheer.